Good evening, everyone. So I'm Rashmi Shukla, and I have an engineering background. And after that, I have worked for 3 years in IT in Capgemini, and then I have opted for development studies at TISS for my post graduation. So this is my background as a student.
Hi everybody, this is Anshumala. So I have done economics from Delhi University. I've done a B honors in economics there. And then I pursued PGDM from KJ Somaya. I worked for some time, about a year. And I had a gap of 3-4 years. And after that, I thought to resume my studies. And that's why I'm pursuing development studies in this Mumbai right now.
So the second question which I want to ask you people, where from you got to know about this course?
Actually, for me, when I thought of taking up this as a college for my post graduation, then only whilst HRM, I was aware of development studies. They both were in sync. Development studies as an option has always been there. So because it's one of the most highest ranking courses also that this has to offer. So this time also it had a cutoff at par with ODCL, I believe, not with HRM. It was always 5 marks or 6 marks below HRM, but it had a cutoff at par with ODCL. So I mean that says a lot about the course when as far as cutoffs are considered. And also I had this time I had also checked up on LinkedIn people alumni from development studies, so they were having a good footprint over LinkedIn as far as their career progressions are concerned. So it gave a lot of a reason and legitimacy for me to opt for this course.
Okay, and Anshu?
I learned about the course from my friends and family. So I live in Mumbai only, and that's how I came to know about it. So I thought that doing this course will enhance my capabilities. And having a background in finance and economics, I felt that development studies is a good addition to my profile, and it will help me, narrow down my interest to the things and issues in the country. And I can probably go for making a career in public policy or CSR or something where I can leverage everything that I've studied till now and also learn more and explore new avenues. So I felt it was a great opportunity, and hence I applied for it and I started preparing for it.
Okay, so we'll start with your journey of this. So anybody can start TISSnet round about TISSnet.
Yes, so like all the branches, we need to appear, we need to write the tested examination. And in that examination also, as everyone is aware, there is a cutoff for general awareness, the GK section. We need to have a stipulated number of marks in that section so as to have the entire TISSnet score considered for the next round. So that is uniform for all the courses. And after TISSnet is over, we have a cutoff, which I said earlier also, it is at par with ODCL. So whatever, this time also it was around 67, I believe, the cutoff for general category. And and after that, like all the courses, we had extempore, a minute we were given a minute to speak on a random topic, and we were asked to also change it if we can. We were only given 2 options, and a minute extempore, and then we had our OPI, our interview session, with the 3 panel. We had a 3 panel people over there, and yes, that was it. I mean, it had a lot of changes. Earlier, it was supposed to have we were supposed to have a writing aptitude test too, and everything, but it was all bypassed because of the pandemic. So extempore was counted in. So
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so extempore was something new. And
Yes.
what? Yeah.
Yes, the extempore thing, when it was a very smooth conduction by the TISS people on the online admission process. So the extempore also, I remember the entire panel. In my panel I had my dean and some very experienced professionals faculty that we now have. Experienced people were there, so they were all very accommodative, and they patiently helped me settle in first, and then they very warmly they told me that okay, so you can speak on this topic and everything, and I was pretty comfortable in the starting minutes when I started my extempore. So they really help. It's no pressure. You get time to gather your thoughts even before you've given a topic. So that helped for me. And when I was speaking and everything, they don't cut short. They listen to you patiently. And then my OPI also began. So be clear with your introduction, whatever you have to speak, to give them a clear background, because whatever you speak in your background, then only they will frame their questions according to that. So a lot of my questions were driven from my background because I have done engineering and computer sciences. So there were a lot of questions from there, which from government schemes that had intersections with computer sciences and IT. So so there were a lot of things of that. But and also I was patiently answering them. There was a patient with me, and sometimes I used to get stuck. I was trying to recall something. So they helped me. So they are very accommodative in that sense. It was a pretty smooth interview.
Okay, so as far as I know, I have two questions. Number one, number one question is the topics which you got in extempore, were they related to development studies part or they?
Yes. I was given the topic, Gandhi's something on Gandhi, like his conduct, his code of conduct, and how he thought that the country, the constitution should, be conducted and be followed. So there was something on those lines, and this was my. I didn't ask for a different topic, so this was my topic.
Okay, Anshu, what was your experience of starting from very first thing, TISSnet and all?
So TISSnet is basically an aptitude exam with a GK section. So you have your quant, English, logical reasoning, and then you have general awareness. I think if you compare the aptitude section, it's on the easier side compared to other management examinations, or even if you compare it with the current banking examinations. I think it's on the easier side only. But it's the GA which makes the difference when it comes to clearing a cutoff. When it comes to flagship courses like HRM, ODCL, MHA, or development studies for that matter. So the GA section is very comprehensive. It includes history. History forms a major section. So I think history is something that one has to study very comprehensively. Modern, and then current affairs plays very important part, because I think in the recent years, if you will see, more and more percentage of questions are being asked from the current section. So being aware of what is happening on a national scale, all the different kinds of events which are happening, whether it's sports or politics or international affairs, that helps a lot. So that is the first part, TISSnet. After that, so ours was a special batch in the sense that we took this exam during the pandemic. So we were supposed to go through a TISS PAT with again aptitude, and there's supposed to be essay writing. So there were a lot of changes in how the exam is going to be conducted. But over time, they settled for an extempore and personal interview, because there was a second wave of COVID was very severe in its scope. So the TISSPAT was discarded, and there was an extempore and PI section. So in the extempore, again, as Rashmi mentioned, one was to be given two topics, and one could select one of it. And it was that if you reject the first topic, you cannot go back to it. So suppose if I am sitting at the extempore, they offer me the first topic, and if I say no, I want the second option, I could not go back to the first topic after hearing the second option. So one had to be very clear. After getting the topic, one was given only 2 minutes to think, and then one had to start speaking on it for about 3-4 minutes or so. So my experience was that at least one of the topic was very much related to the field of development. So when you talk about development, the most important development challenges in India are of poverty, unemployment, overpopulation. So if you prepare on these topics, probably one of the two topics would hit on it. I think in one of my interview, I was asked about Indian coastal policy. So Indian coast is something one doesn't really give a lot of importance to while studying until unless you are preparing for UPSC examination or so. And then the second question was on poverty. So I chose the second one and I spoke on it. So I think, and PI, again, all the faculty, the panel members were very cordial, and they used to make you feel comfortable, and they would ask you questions from your background, and then they will ask you, why do you want to do this? Why are you choosing this particular course? So overall, it was a very cordial session. Yeah.
Okay, so I can remember that both of you were part of my initiative. We had one initiative just before, interview. That was Clubhouse. Was it helpful in any ways in your study or something? Clubhouse sessions. We used to have Clubhouse sessions every day, and I can remember Anshu was one of the active participants in that. So, what was your takeout from that?
I enjoyed the sessions a lot, and I got to learn a lot from it, because I believe that reading newspaper and staying up to date is one thing, but to be able to express yourself in 2 minutes, 3 minutes is a totally different game. There are 2-3 things that you need to do at the same time. As soon as you hear the topic, you need to organize whatever you know in your mind, then put it in a very comprehensive manner, and then actually speak it. And you have to do it in a very short span of time. So undoubtedly it requires practice, so that once you are in front of the panel, 3-4 very distinguished, experienced people who are going to decide your future, at that time um, you cannot fumble there. You cannot go back again and again and go to what you're speaking. You have to be very clear. Your thought process has to be clear. And for that, I think the Clubhouse initiative was great. Sir used to organize, I remember, events at 10 p.m. in the evening after dinner. So almost everybody used to be free. And he used to give topics, 3 to 4 topics every day, ranging from different sections. And that used to be really helpful.
Okay, so we have Sonali. Sonali, can you briefly introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I am Sonali, and I did mock interviews with Sir twice, I think. And I would give a lot of credit to the second interview specifically, because there was a lot of improvement in that. So a little bit about my background. I've done psychology from Lady Shri Ram College, and after that I prepared for UPSC. So I had a gap of 3 years, and yeah, I gave my TISSnet quite casually, but so I did not prepare for it formally. But for OPI and the extempore, I was quite serious. So yeah, I think that's all. And just adding on to what Anshumala was saying, because I just heard that. So yeah, the Clubhouse initiative was very helpful. Along with that, I would suggest that students can work in little groups, because sometimes you are a little camera shy, or you don't have a habit of public speaking. It's a fear in most people. So what you can do is you can start working in groups, give each other random topics. There's a list of topics that is released every year, and even we came across a couple of lists from HR course, from DS course, areas you can focus on. So just go over them, and obviously the things we practice, they're never really asked, but it builds your confidence. And in my case, I was actually asked a very basic topic. It was something related to mental health. I think it was role of mental health in India, I think. So which was very basic for me, but I had practiced at a level which was way higher than that, even in the Clubhouse initiative and otherwise. So it's very easy for you, and then you gain confidence in the beginning of the interview, which really helps you build a good rapport in when you proceed with the interview during the OPI.
Okay, so yeah, I will start with the question. So there is a girl who has asked, sir, I want to do, social work in, women practice or something. But what is the basic difference between women-centric practices, social work in that, and development studies? So I think development studies, anybody can take this question. What is basic difference between development studies and social work from TISS?
Development studies essentially is very different from all the other programs that TISS has to offer, be it climate change or women's studies or social work or so on and so forth, because they have their niche, in their own respect. But development studies is you get to choose, you get to decide whilst you're in the program what dimension or domain you want to take up anything. We in our second semesters, we would be offered to choose from various schools. If we take School of Social Work, we would have subjects which will be strictly endemic to that area. But in development studies, we have subjects spanning all the, we don't have what do you say, dedicated courses, but we have like overview आपको हर field का मिलता है. So that is one thing that I've gathered. The difference, you can have it, you can take it negatively or positively, but since we are in the course, so we would be taking it in our stride that we can span in different sectors. Like if we have to opt for a dissertation topic also, we are not strictly bounded by one pillar of social sciences. We have to abide by the subjects of social work or climate change or disaster management or rural development. We can have we have a diverse option and we can pick from there. So I think that luxury development studies has to offer as opposed to all the other programs.
Okay, just adding on to it, I think there is not a lot of component of women-centric studies or social work when it comes to development studies course. It is more at a global level, at a more macro level, rather than focusing on the different sectors. It's mainly you're going over things at a macro level, like development, international development, economics, so be it state and democracy, whatsoever. So you're not getting into the intricacies of anything. So if you really want to go and work in social work sector like NGOs, CSOs or whatever, I think you should choose something like a master in social work rather than development studies.
You want to work only in a NGO setup, or you want to have only this kind of a career prospect, then choose social work or something that is niche. But if you are thinking that, okay, let me get into TISS and then I'll explore what kind of a prospect I want to build for my career and stuff like that, then you can always choose DS. Even you can have a career in analytics if you're in DS.
Yeah,
that is true. I mean, we don't have a dedicated.
Yeah. That's true.
Like you can span.
Rashmi
Sonali, I believe, is a psychology graduate, and she has the option of even getting at level if at all she passes from development studies too. So you have a plethora of opportunities. But it is mainly self-paced. What I've realized, development studies. I mean, you have to leverage your faculties and your all the things that this has to offer, and then build your own thing. You won't be getting a decorated platter like HRM has the luxury, like they have a setup and something of that sort. But DS, it is self-paced. You have to be proactive. You're on your own to derive opportunities and to get stuff done for your own thing. So that I think is a difference. Otherwise, it is a good course.
So there is one more question, which is So how can one take up teaching profile in academic institution post DS? So if somebody wants to go into, academic, okay, so is it a good option? I mean, DS is a good option.
So regarding that, a lot of our alumni have gone on to pursuing PhD and into academics. And I think the course structure is in such a way that there is a 12 credit dissertation, unlike any other school in TISS. So it's very rigorous, and you will be prepared to work hard enough to do an MHD, a PhD or an MPhil if you want to pursue it abroad or whatsoever. A lot of our alumni have gone on to do that. But if you are you want to focus on one subject, like one of our classmates, he wanted to do PhD in sociology. So after a semester he left because he wants to focus just on sociology. In development studies, you will be studying, just like Rashmi mentioned, a plethora of subjects. So if you're not sure right now which area you want to do your PhD in, or academics which area you want to go into, then obviously you should come to this course and explore that. There's an option of exploring a wide range of areas. But if you're sure that you want to go for economics, a PhD, or you want to give a net exam in sociology, so I don't think this course is for you. You should go for a more specialized course, like it's offered in DU, because this is not a traditional course. This is definitely interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary. So you will be studying a couple of subjects, but not one specific subject in that much depth that you will be able to give net exams in that. So for development studies, a lot of students appear for net in economics. Development studies comes under economics, but I don't think we study that much economics that we'll be able to appear for that after 2 years. So you'll have to do your homework otherwise if you come to DS and you want to give net in economics. So yeah, I think that's all. But a lot of students do go for academics. A lot of our teaching assistants are doing their
They are.
PhD from DS only. So the PhD program at our school is anyway really reputed.
Okay, so one more question is there that there is a guy from science background. So he says, I am from science background. The subject seems a bit different in the starting. Does it get better after a while or something?
I think Rashmi can answer that.
Yes, semester one was really overwhelming as far as the readings we were offered. I mean, they were qualitative, but they were too heavy on me. And so yes, I mean, I had the luxury of my classmates.
So first of
So
all,
they were really helping.
Yeah, Rasmi, first of all, tell me what was your graduation?
Computer science engineering was my background, my undergraduate.
So you are the right person to tell us about if a person from science is going to study DS, then what will happen?
Yes, I mean, if they have the habit of reading, or if they, I mean, I have given TISSnet only by reading newspapers. I have religiously read newspapers the entire year, and I haven't read any intellectual or heavy books. I wasn't an UPSC aspirant either. So it was overwhelming for me for my first semester in few subjects. And I think it was overwhelming for a lot of people who were not from even science background. They were also arts. So it is on how you, if you have a reading habit, one, and second, you will find your ground eventually. And it is not a tough rope. It is not at all. And we as classmates, like we used to help each other. I have leveraged a lot. I mean, Anshu, she can say, Sonali. I mean, I've badgered them to like help me, and so in my assignments and everything. So it ho jata hai. It's not a huge deal, and I think that sometimes we are also better placed in gauging some things. At other times, people from non-science background are better placed, and we help each other in such times. So we will eventually find a grounds if we are interested in, you know, in DS. I mean, if you're not interested in like what is happening in the country, or if you're not into reading even small bits of news pieces in newspaper, it will get tough, undoubtedly. If you don't have the habit of reading, I believe it will get tough, because reading is a very important thing that is required in DS. So it is quite academic in its own. So
Okay, so
irrespective of your background.
one more question is that now that everything has gone online, what is the experience? Is everything smooth, or you face some challenges?
Campus life would have
Anybody
definitely been great. uh, it would have been great to be on the campus and do the qualitative paper. Especially it would have been great doing it on the field, and maybe our dissertation would have turned out better if we were on the
Better.
field. But we're just hoping for the third semester to be on the field and on campus. So I think there are drawbacks for hybrid batches, like ours is a hybrid one. The coming batch might be a hybrid one, or maybe that will be fully on campus. We don't know. It's uncertain. Yeah, the uncertainty is it makes you very anxious sometimes. But online education has its pros, I think. So the assignments, they were manageable. For the first semester, it's 20 credits, and it's some serious 20 credits. Okay, you have to focus on the FC, and there's so many subjects. So I think the online environment, there were a lot of assignments, but it was manageable. It wouldn't have been manageable if we were on campus. Those many subjects, managing them on campus, giving exams for that, it would have been very difficult. Maybe it wouldn't have been so rigorous also, but we never know. We don't know the off campus situation. Regarding the last question, can I just add that if you're coming from a science background, you do have some advantages, because there are subjects for you over there also. You have quantitative, probably you have a good quantitative analytical skill or whatever. So you can take up those subjects, advanced quantitative or whatsoever. You can leverage your scientific skills as well in development studies, which I don't think is always possible in social sciences. And regarding some subjects, they were hefty even for me coming from a social science. So during my first semester, I started actually feeling that am I even coming from a social science, because यहाँ पे they were considering social science only for sociology, political science, and another 2-3 subjects. Geography and psychology was also somehow sidelined. So even I used to feel a non-social science background person sometimes. But I think it's fine, because in future, our second semester is approaching. We have chosen subjects of our choice, and that is, I think, going to turn out really well for us. It's not as theoretical, and it's going to get better.
Okay, so now there are another question. It says what type of work you do and what type of learning you derive during the course.
You get to learn a whole lot about how the, you know, like how we loosely talk about development or economics in a very narrowly we talk about it without any how it actually happened. So the favorite subject of mine has to be about histories of development that we were taught. And so the learning from that subject is like it has given a huge understanding of how things today are happening. So it is always relevant, and I think uh, it will help even if you're not choosing a career in core development or in core social sciences. It will always help you maneuver your way in any profession. So I think learning, the reading that we're offered, they are, I said, qualitative in nature. They're very from learned people, and I think I wouldn't have had, I mean, me coming from a social science, non-social science background, I never would have the luxury of reading such things. So the reading that we're offered are very qualitative in nature from various people, even the Indian scholars, we don't know many of them. So they're rich in their content
In a foundation course,
about India.
we learned
Yes.
about various areas which are not generally taught in our education system. Gender and sexuality, media, and the casteism in
Urban development.
urban development. There was so much in foundation course, 4 credits, that we don't really do in our mainstream education system or even for our UPSC preparation. Then there is also in quantitative, we learned a little bit of SPSS. We're going to do more in our coming semester. And the whole statistics part was there. There was descriptive and inferential. There was qualitative, all the tools you need for your dissertation. So how to do an interview, how to go about participant observation. And yeah, so there are some things which are very relevant that you learn, and some are not so relevant, but then it was fun just studying them.
Yes.
Like
I
roles.
mean,
So
for that
if I may add, I'll
process.
say the subjects which are there in the first semester at least, they are basically to broaden the critical thinking of students who are coming from different backgrounds. So what happens is that uh, the way our education system is, we are used to read things and absorb things without actually questioning it and questioning our own biases. So you get introduced to a lot of subjects like state and democracy and justice. There was a subject on justice. There was anthropology. And in the beginning, it might feel that all of them are very all over the place and not connected in any manner. But the more you go over your assignments and you go through the readings, you learn that basically they're teaching you about various contexts from different societies around the world. They are making you ask the right questions, frame the right set of questions for interviews or surveys, which will form an integral part of what we come to do later on in our jobs. So it was a very nice way of exposing us to different branches of studies simultaneously, and at the same time, equipping us um, to think more critically, to even question ourselves. So it was not only a learning exercise, I would say it was a lot of unlearning exercise as well, about, just doing things for the sake of doing, or just reading things and not questioning it. So I think Rashmi and Sonali will also agree that our first semesters has helped us even absorb and read news and everything around us in a different manner. Probably we
True.
go too much minor details and we ask more deeper questions.
Okay,
And from the
so
next
the next,
semester, we have the choice of choosing subjects according to our wish and how we want to shape our career. So we have a lot of electives. So that helps us also curate our own course.
okay. So the next question is, what are the areas where you people will be working, that is placement, and what will be the job profile after doing this course? If you want to work somewhere or associate
Can
somewhere,
you
what
repeat it
will
once again, sir?
so
Can you repeat it once
what
again?
yeah, what will be the areas where you guys will be placed and will be working?
I'll take it up then. Rashmi and I are in the placement committee. So currently we are gathering for stuff for our database. So mainly there is no fixed area. You can be working in a private company like KPMG. There have been alumni who've been placed in KPMG, Deloitte, EY. So you can go there as an analyst, researcher. You can the way this course equips you with the research methodology and your research skills. So you placed in research companies as well. Now coming to the CSR sector, there is a very wide range of opportunities for DS students in CSR and even in policy. So there's companies like Samita. It's a CSR consulting company. So that comes to the campus. There's Satwa Consulting. Apart from that, there you can work as a program manager on different programs, and that used to be more common with the offline students because they used to have more field experience. So for them, they used to go on to work in National Skill Develop Program and stuff like that, like semi-development sector, semi-government sector. And people have gone on to work in government as well. So you can go in advisory for something like Niti Aayog, or there is also opportunities in development organizations like UNDP, ORF. And yeah, I think I can just show you, I can send you the link of the placement brochure and you can share with the students. They'll get a better idea, I think, regarding the areas students work in. And yeah, that's it.
So Shruti, she's asking a question. Could you please ask what was the leverage of DS over urban policy making? So, there are urban policy making, urban policy is the course, and also public policy is the course, and development studies is also a course. Okay, so basically we have public policy and development studies, and urban policy is also the course. So what is the difference? Which is better?
Regarding better, we don't know.
So basically, what is the
reference to
difference? What is the difference between
Yeah, so
public
with
policy?
reference to placements, DS placements have been one of the best after the other flagship courses. So in that sense, I think it stands above that. In terms of your interests, so DS does have a center for cities and development, cities and human development. So you can go on to work in your dissertation in areas like urban development. But obviously, if you want to go into something more specialized, like completely surrounded around urban policy and governance, then obviously you go for that. The course structure is pretty much opposite only, I think, because there is only an element of cities and development in development studies, but urban policy and governance completely focuses on that.
Okay, so I think development studies is also available at Hyderabad.
Yeah, it is, but it is under the School of Livelihood. So the course
Okay,
structure is different.
So suppose there is a course, there is a case where a person is getting selected at both the Mumbai campus and Hyderabad campus. He can apply for both Mumbai and Hyderabad.
They can apply for both, but they would have to prefer, right? So I would suggest you go over the courses on the website. The syllabus is given. Sorry. So on the website, the syllabus, the curriculum is given, and we can also share the prospectus with you, so they can go over all the course curriculum and everything. So you decide based on what is being offered. At if I'm not wrong, at TISS Hyderabad, they offer fieldwork as well as part of credit, and the dissertation is not 12 credits, it's 8 credits, I think. And the course structure is pretty different. Even there's a course at Tuljapur campus, it's development policy and development planning and policy and something, DPPP. So students opt for that as well. So you just go over which one you want to keep at a higher preference. You will get selected based on that only.
Okay, so I think one more question is, there is DS course at Ajim Premji University also, and TISS also. This is, I think, older one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this will be better compared to.
I think I can speak for the faculty. I think the faculty at TISS is better. In terms of ROI, TISS is better. The fees is under 1 lakh, and for Azim Premji, the fees is pretty high because it's a private institution anyway. And otherwise, in terms of placements, I think it's almost the same. I'm not really sure about this though.
Okay. So then one more question is the same question, job profile. Job profile you have already spoken, and yeah. So anything more you want to add from any experience you want to add from your side?
What I'd suggest is, if you're confused about what DS professionals go on to where they work or whatsoever, you go on LinkedIn and you just type MADS at TISS, Azim Premji, DS Hyderabad, all these things, and you will find a lot of professionals, their profiles are updated. You can just see where they're working. So I got a very good idea from there where our alumni are working. Sometimes because immediately our placement brochure also can't tell you enough. Immediately students are not placed in great organizations, or you wouldn't get an idea, but where they go on to work, because in development sector it's about your growth is high after 2 years of experience, and actually the growth is higher. It does the it goes up rather than like in private sector where it plateaus at a point. So yeah.
So yeah, so the growth eventually is going to be there, and initially you will have to do some field work, you will have to gain some experience, and then only that will show. Does development studies has any connection with international relation? Like, does it give any leverage for international? So I think there is a
We have
separate.
electives.
Yeah, it's not directly related, but there will be an option of international relations as well, some international affairs or something. But in general, the course is quite global in its approach. So we're not just focusing on the development issues of India. We're actually reading the thinkers from everywhere, and the course is completely, the curriculum is taught the way it is taught in other universities, even out of India as well, because in India obviously not a lot of universities are offering the course. So I think it helps you in building a base. So what you can do is, if you're not sure about international relations, or if you apply to JNU, you don't get that, you get DS here, you can take it up. By the way, in JNU DS course is not as good. It is more labor centric, labor study centric, not properly development studies centric. So just saying that people who
Another thing which I'll add is that there are a lot of international exchange programs also in DS course. So, and development studies as a course itself is in a lot of international universities, which is offered in Europe and institutes of South America. So there are many opportunities where students from here, even some of our seniors, have been able to go for exchange programs, and they do their summer education over there or winter education over there, and then they come back and they join back the course. Again, development field in itself is very international in its scope. If you look at all the big names in from India in development studies, they all have had attained international stature because of their work in development economics. Be it Amartya Sen or Abhijit Banerjee, they all started by working on problems which are endemic to our country or to particular locality, West Bengal or South India, and all those problems could find, similarities and analogous examples abroad also, whether they are the poor regions of South America or the poor regions of America per se. And by comparing and by doing comparative studies, by collaborating with other economists and development studies experts, they have been able to create work of international stature. And I think development studies, if you want to, it's a very international, it has a lot of international scope. And international relations, again, is a different field. If you look at it, if you are into the geopolitics of it, then it becomes a very different field. But if you want to relate it with development also, then there is a lot of scope. And I think in the coming time, everything is going to be about, uh, multilateral, about multidisciplinary. So one doesn't need to stick to one particular course per se, but all the innovations and all the new thoughts and theories which are going to come, they're going to come from multidisciplinary approaches only. So for that, if you want to go further into international relations and you want to scope the international side of development economics or studies per se, I think it's a very good place to begin your studies.
Okay.
That's true. You can always opt for international relations as a part of your exchange program if you get selected. Every year, at least one student from DS is selected for the exchange program. Since past, I think, since 2012, and one of our seniors was telling. And I want to go for public policy. So I'm not doing public policy, but while studying development studies, there's always a scope of doing some certificate course, and then you're eligible, because the curriculum that you're going through is almost the same as what it would be for public policy, let's say. So just a certificate course, and that makes you eligible for other things as well.
Okay, so there are a lot of labs, like there are a lot of organizations which have become quite functional in India also, like Oxfam. Oxfam is there, and Jamil Lab is there. I think
Yeah,
Abjeet Banerjee was Jamil Lab. Okay, so Arthur Duflo and Abjeet Banerjee, they both work there only, and one of the IS officer who is the husband of Geeta Gopinath. He happens to be the CEO of that organization. So he also doing the same thing as you said, that Amartya Sen, Jean Rage, and all the people who are quite famous. They are developmental economists only. Okay, so this was a great session. I think many students would have got their doubt cleared. And thank you all. Thanks for coming, and thanks for giving your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
And